If you are a freelancer or digital nomad and want to learn how you can qualify for a Mexican resident visa via demonstrating economic solvency, this video is for you. When I say economic solvency means that you can show proof that you make a certain level of income or investments, so you can support yourself financially in Mexico. If you want to qualify for your visa as an investor or for owning real estate in Mexico, I have videos that explain each topic in depth, and you can find the links in the description of this video. Here, you are going to learn how to get your temporary residency as a freelancer. Just to be clear, this is for temporary residency status only. You cannot jump to permanent residency directly. The good news is that after 4 years of temporary residency status, you can jump to permanent residency. I encourage you to watch this video till the end, because in the last part I'm going to share a step-by-step process for temporary residency. Let's get into it. The specific requirements vary depending on the individual circumstances. If a company hired you, they will be responsible for all the paperwork for your working visa. Now, if you are independent, you need to apply for a working visa with proof of investments or bank accounts, with an average monthly balance equivalent to 5,000 days of the general minimum wage in Mexico City. During the last 12 months, income can come from any source, even cryptocurrencies. However, it is mandatory that the bank statements must be from centralized banks. Let's do the math. This year, the current general minimum wage in Mexico City is 207.44 pesos. Multiply per 5,000 days equals 1,037,200 Mexican pesos. As reference, I'm going to take an average exchange rate of 17 pesos per US dollars. What it gives us, 61,011 US dollars. If you have direct economic dependents, spouse, parents, or children, you have to add 100 days of the current general minimum wage in Mexico City for each economic dependent. Let's do the math. General minimum wage in Mexico City, multiply per 100 days, equals 20,744 Mexican pesos, with an average exchange rate of 17 pesos per US dollar, equals 1,220 US dollars. Pro tip: you have to prove the family relationship by presenting an apostille marriage license or birth certificate translated into Spanish. If you do not know what an apostille document is, I made a video explaining it. Find the link in the description below. I leave you a link in the description to all Mexican consulates around the globe, where you can access to verify updated requirements and amounts. Notice that some websites and forms are in Spanish. Also, some procedures can confuse you. Therefore, I highly recommend that you rely on an immigration lawyer to carry out your process. Eternal tourist versus residency visa. Which is more convenient? One option is to be an eternal tourist, but the benefits of having your residency in Mexico are as follows. 1. Is not necessary to leave the country every 6 months. 2. You can open a Mexican banking account. 3. You can get a driver's license. 4. If you buy a property, you can qualify for a capital gains tax reduction on the future sale. 5. You can bring a foreign-plated car with you for the length of time that your residency card is valid. 6. You can take advantage of the public health care system. 7. You'll be able to import your household items into Mexico duty-free. 8. Your family can have the same status. 9. You can apply for Mexican citizenship over time. 10. In places like the Riviera Maya, you can enjoy discounts in some restaurants, bars, tours, and parks. In conclusion, all the procedures you carry out will be easier. Now, before I explain the step-by-step process to apply for your residency, there is one important thing I suggest having in mind. Presenting the required visa documentation does not guarantee that a visa will be issued. The documentation is still subject to review and approval by the visa issuing department. Therefore, I highly recommend that you rely on an immigration lawyer, since they have all the experience to do it. By doing it on your own, you run the risk of making mistakes, and once you submit your process and is rejected, you will have to start it again and pay again. The government does not make refunds in case your process is rejected, and they don't have an appeals process. Step-by-step process. Now let's see the step-by-step process for applying for temporary residency visa in Mexico. Number 1, go to the consulate's website you're planning on visiting. Some of the sites will say to email them directly, while others will tell you to schedule via site. Most consulates do not take walk-ins. Try to avoid that unless you know for a fact that they will take you in as a walk-in. 2. Complete the application form and make an appointment. Getting an appointment can be lengthy. It is important to start the process well in advance of your travel date. 3. Once your application has been submitted and processed, it will tell you a list of documents to bring which will be specific to your chosen visa category and fees to be paid. 4. Attend the appointment with the requested documentation. The mandatory ones are passport photocopies, bank statements, and photographs. Check the measurements carefully because they're very specific. 5. At the appointment, you will be asked questions about your current status and why you want to live in Mexico. 6. Most consulates will give you their decision that same day on whether or not you're approved. If you get approved, you will usually get your residency stamp on your passport that same day. 7. If you've been granted a visa, it will be valid for 180 days. 8. You must arrive to Mexico before the visa expires to exchange it for your residency card. 9. When you arrive to Mexico, you have 30 days to visit the local immigration office and apply to get your residency card. This process is called canje. Pro tip 1. Don't wait until the last minute to travel to Mexico, and definitely don't let your stamp expire. Otherwise, you will have to start the residency process all over again. Pro tip 2. Remember that the dates in Mexico are formatted: day, month, year. So when you get that residency stamp, try not to confuse. Time frames. To summarize the time frames, it can take from start to finish as little as a few days and up to weeks or months. It just depends on how fast you get your appointment at the Mexican consulate near you, and how soon you travel to Mexico to finish the process. If you have already gone through this process, share with others your experience by leaving a comment. To end, it is important to be aware of, after obtaining your residency, it will be mandatory to obtain a RFC, which is a tax code number. Don't worry, I have a video where I explain everything you need to know about the RFC. I hope you find this video helpful. If you want to learn local knowledge to invest in real estate in the Mexican Caribbean, I suggest to subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching.